government, and question. And we're going to hear these 3 vocab words as we read our newspaper article. Just like we do in school, at the end of our newspaper article, we're going to answer our questions and then do our vocabulary check again. So as I read the newspaper article, please read along with me, and you can also repeat back as I read. Starting with our title, 2020 Census. The U.S. will have a census in 2020. The U.S. has a census every 10 years. A census counts every person living in an area. The 2020 census will count every person in the U.S. A U.S. government group does the census. The group is called the Census Bureau. The Census Bureau uses the census to gather information. The information is about people in the U.S. The U.S. government uses the information. So far that we learned while reading is a census is done every 10 years. So in the year 2020, which we are in right now, is when people have to fill out the census. And the Census Bureau is a government group, and they want to gather information about people living in a specific area, such as in Providence, where we live. The information helps the government make decisions. Some decisions are about money. The government decides how much money to give to states. States use the money to build schools, hospitals, roads, and more. So it's very important that we all complete the census, and most of your parents will be completing the census, because in order for us to complete the census and we want to make better things such as a better school or better hospitals or better roads, they need all of this information so they are able to do so. Well, how does the Census Bureau do a census? The Census Bureau sends census forms in March. They send a form to every home in the U.S. Each form has a list of questions. The questions are about the people living in the house. So I received my census form already in the mail. And when you open it, there's a bunch of questions that you have to answer. And you have to answer them about everybody that lives in your house. So one question asks how many people live in the home. Another question asks for each person's name, birth date, and age. Everyone must answer the questions for the census. The census is part of the U.S. law. So it's very, very important that everybody answers all of the questions in the census form that they are going to be receiving in the mail. And you can maybe ask your parents or your grandparents or your aunts or uncles or whoever lives with you if they have received their census form yet in the mail. People can answer these questions by mail, online, or by phone. Workers from the Census Bureau may visit some homes, and the workers ask questions. The workers count people living in the homes. The U.S. will have a census in 2020. The census will count every person living in the U.S. The census will count you, your family, your friends, your teachers, and more. How many people do you think live in the U.S.? Well, I do not know the answer to that, but there is definitely millions of people living in the United States. So now what I would like you guys to do is I'd like you to turn and I'd like you to find your review page questions. These all should look very similar because it's exactly what we use in class. So I'm going to stick mine right to the board. If you need extra time trying to find your questions in the packet, you can pause the video till you find it, and then you can press play when you're able to find it and you're ready to begin answering the questions. Remember, We're practicing first and last name on the top of our paper. What I'm going to do is, you're going to read the questions and then you will circle the correct answer. Then I will go over the answers and then we will do our vocab words. So question number 1 is, what is this paper about? Amazing Young Athletes, March Madness, or the 2020 Census? Remember, you're going to circle your answer. Number 2, who does the census? The National Weather Service, the National Park Service, or the Census Bureau? Number 3, where will the census count every person? The U.S., space, or the ocean? Number 4, what does the Census Bureau gather? Information, recipes, or flowers? Number 5, what counts every person living in the U.S.? A calculator, the census, or the map? Making sure that you're circling the answer that you think fits the question. And our last one, number 6. What does the census want to know about each person? Their favorite color, their birth date, or their height? Once you're done and you've finished circling your answers to the question, then you're going to take out a colored pencil or a crayon or something to correct your work.